All right, everybody, we're sitting here talking to Jimmy Kennedy. How's it going, Jimmy?
Everything is good, man. How you?
We're doing all right, man. Trying to stay cool, but it's all right. And I would say before we get going too much, I would say this is no doubt our biggest interview. I think the one we've been the most excited for. Wouldn't you say?
Our most, as I say, highly touted guest so far.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
We've been really excited about this one. We were super excited whenever you message us back, and thank you first of all for agreeing to do it with us. And but yeah, we got Jimmy Kennedy here, former Super Bowl champion with the New York Giants.
And I've seen on your Twitter, it's Jimmy Grizz Kennedy. Is that right?
Yeah, Grizz. I was I like to say a young bear or something like that. You know, when I first started playing ball, my grandmother used to call me Pooh Bear. So in high school, when I started playing ball, I wasn't trying to hear no Pooh Bear.
Yeah, you can't hear Pooh Bear.
You know? So it's just strictly Bear when I was in high school. Then when I played my first game at Penn State, LeVar Arrington, after I had a dominant performance, he told the media, he said, "Yeah, the guy is big, fast, strong. You know, he's like a grizzly bear." So from there, it's just been grizzly bear, and then he got shortened to Grizz.
So where'd you play high school ball at?
Roosevelt in Yonkers, New York.
Oh man.
I was 33-3 in my career there. So yeah, it was. I didn't start playing football until I was in ninth grade.
So if your high school works the same way ours did, that's like you didn't even start playing until you were actually in high school. Like you didn't play any like Pop Warner or nothing like that.
Nah, no Pop Warner, nothing.
Dang.
Went out there. I was in the streets doing the wrong thing. My high school coach was the gym teacher. The head football coach was the gym teacher, so he probably saw me play basketball and stuff like that. And when he found out I was doing the wrong thing, he was like, "You need to stop wasting your talent because, you know, you can go somewhere with this. And I need you to join my football team." I did that, and the rest is history.
Did he put you on the D line immediately?
I didn't play defense until my junior year. That's where the 73 came from. My grandmother, I had a chance I needed to pick my number. So my grandmother said, pick 73 is the perfect 10. I gave her the numbers that we had to pick from, and she said, pick 73 is the perfect 10. So I was a starting right offensive tackle, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. And then my junior year, my coach came to me and said, "Hey, we need you to play defense. You think you up for it?" And I was like, "All right, cool." So I started studying film like Greg Lloyd and linebackers, LaVon Kirkland and all those guys, some defensive line guys, Warren Sapp and all that. And next thing you know, I went out that year, had 26 sacks.
God almighty,
That's a good
26 sacks.
It's a great start, right, for a high school player.
Jesus.
That's been a common theme I've seen a lot of. I watched Warren Sapp's Football Life, and they said they had him at tight end, and they ended up saying the same thing. They're like, why don't we switch him to defense?
Yeah.
Like, nobody will be able to block him.
How many games did y'all play?
I enjoy playing offense for the most part. I love that.
What was it like a 10-game season or 12-game season or something like that?
Say it again?
Was it like the year you got 26 sacks? What was that, like a 10-game season or 12 games or something like that?
No, I was just, I just actually studied, and it was like I didn't realize how important sacks was, believe it or not, until I turned pro. Like I pride myself on stopping the run. It was just one of those things that's like when I was playing in high school, it was like we had a game like race to the quarterback. So I just wanted to win the game in terms of the game within the game that I had with my teammates. So I didn't realize like for me it was like if I can go out there as a nose guard, defensive tackle, and get 10, 12 tackles, I was excited.
Yeah.
It didn't have the TFLs and so on. That was like more my stats. I didn't want nobody to run the ball. I didn't want nobody to get 100 yards. If you get 100 yards on my defense, I was pissed.
God dang.
I like that. That's pretty cool because you got a lot of guys now that they just want to get sacks, but especially the interior lineman, that's kind of like the run stop guy.
Well, for me, I like if I had to choose, which being a Viking, it's hard to say this. But one of my favorite players was Gilbert Brown. So even though initially I wanted to wear number 93, and my obviously I started at right tackle on offense, so I couldn't wear the 93. So that's where I was happy when my grandma picked the 73. But if I was 93, I was bringing that gravedigger back out.
Dang, that isn't. Were you always like all through high school? Were you always that big? Like as big as Were you just substantially bigger than everybody?
Not necessarily. I wasn't even the biggest on my team. James Atkins was my teammate. He played a couple of years in the NFL for the Titans and stuff. Was a Syracuse guy and Ole Miss guy. I know he's jumped around for a while, but he was in high school. He was 6'6", 6'7", about 300 and I'm gonna say at the time he was probably like 290 in high school, but by the time he turned pro, he was about 325.
My
and
God.
I was 7th grade. I was 5'5", 135. 8th grade, 5'6", about 140. Start of 9th grade, I was 6'3", 270. 9th grade was over. I was 6'5", 315.
Did anybody recognize you when you came back from 8th grade to 9th grade, or was everybody like, dang, who's the new kid?
Well, what it was how you get the bigger kids who, not necessarily, because I can't say bullying, but it was just like, you get the bullies out there who just have the smart mouth.
Yeah.
Like, they'll talk a bunch of crap and what they'll do and everything else. So, and then one time I just came in, and it was just like, whoa, hold up. Like, and it's just like, yeah, we can't really say too much to him anymore.
Nah.
And it wasn't like I was being bullied or nothing like that, but it was one of those things that's like instantly. My cousins, like, I look at my cousin right now, he's probably like maybe 5'10", let's say 200 pounds, 170, somewhere between 170 and 200, and then he was a big cousin. He's like 4 years older than me. So I remember he used to noogie me and give me put me in a headlock and stuff. And then now, like one summer, I just came over. He was just like, I can't even put you in a headlock anymore.
Nah.
Those days are over.
At the time,
At
the time I didn't realize it, but now I have my youngest son, and his mom is 6'1", and I'm 6'5". So when I look at him now, I see me. I see not myself as a kid. He just turned 12 here on Mother's Day. And he's 5'10", and he's wears a men's 13 shoe in a large shirt with a 34-inch waist.
Jesus,
he's on track already.
I'm 22 years old. He's a bigger person than I am. God Almighty.
He just turned 12, May 14th.
Well, remind me not to pick a fight with your 12-year-old, because I'm
Nah, he's the most humble, cool kid ever.
Is he into football?
Nah, he just loves. He's gonna be a basketball guy. He loves basketball. He loves Fortnite and all the games and stuff right now.
Oh yeah.
He's a honor society student and so on. Like my oldest just graduated this past Thursday. He's heading to Penn State. So it's cool. It's just like he called me up because my oldest lived with his mom. So he called me up and he's like, "Hey Dad, can you pay for my SAT course?" And I was like, "All right, yeah, I got you. I'll put the money in your bank account." He's like, "All right, cool." He's like, "But first off, Dad, I want to take the test first, and see how I play, so I know what to study." So, all right, cool. So he goes, he takes the test, not studying or nothing. He gets a 1380 out of 1600.
Dang.
He calls me up and said, "All right, Dad, so I think I want to get somewhere in the 15 with prep course and so on." I was like, "Hey, boy, you're a 4.0 student, honors and everything else, and if you think I'm going to pay for a course?" I was like, "Man, you got a 1380. You can go anywhere you want."
Yeah.
They'll take you right there.
So, he didn't understand that. So he wanted to go to a branch campus of Penn State. So Dad had to intervene yet again, take him down to Penn State, show him the main campus. He was like, "Oh, Dad, yeah, I got to go there."
Dang.
So
So
we
speaking.
applied and he got in.
So well, speaking of Penn State, moving on after high school, what kind of drew you into Penn State? What did they just feel right, or what was it about them?
Oh, actually at the time I was being heavily recruited by multiple schools. So it was one of those things that I didn't know where I wanted to go. And the truth is I just started praying on it, asking God to send me a sign so I know where to go. I had an uncle that was sick. He had pneumonia that year, and who went to the hospital. And Penn State, without Curtis Enos, was playing the bowl game. And Florida, Fred Taylor was destroying Penn State. He was running through them. And my uncle looked up, and he said, are they recruiting you? I said, yeah, both of them are recruiting me. I said, Florida's looking great right now. He said, you should go there. I said, yeah, I might have to see what they're talking about. He said, no, you should go to Penn State. They need you. And I was like, And I committed. I took that as my sign from God, and I committed.
Well, it was a pretty good decision, pretty accomplished in college.
Yeah.
We've talked to a lot of Penn State guys. It sounds like a really fun school to go to, and a good football program for sure too.
Yeah, I had no regrets from that. No regrets at all. Probably one of the best decisions of my life.
Well, of course, we got to talk about this amazing NFL career. So, getting drafted 12
amazing.
Overall. Amazing.
Did you say amazing?
Super Bowl champion, man. Super Bowl champion right here.
And we've never had a guy drafted in the first round. We've had a lot of guys drafted, but we wanted to hear a little bit about the first round draft shenanigans. And did you go
Just
to
the whole
Radio
process.
City and all that?
Yo, yeah, I actually visited a few cities. When I came out, it was just different because, at the time I worked hard to get out of New York. And worked hard to get out of New York and went to Penn State and had success there. And when I went to certain teams, it was like, all right, the Jets had the third pick that year. I know they traded out. And I strictly played 3 technique at the time. I never played nose guard. So it was just one of those things that's like, I mean, I appreciate you guys giving me some, a pat on the back with an amazing career. But it was just some part. It's just an average career. I mean, I was blessed to play, 9 years and extremely blessed to win a Super Bowl and so on. There's been Hall of Famers and so on who play this game and don't have the hardware. So if I had a chance to look and say, do I want the gold jacket or the hardware, I'm going to pick the hardware anyway. I know you get a Hall of Fame ring, but it's still not like the memories and the bond that you create with teammates and so on when you guys battle and actually accomplish your goals as Super Bowl champs. But for me, it was like, I didn't want to go to the Jets because although I loved the Jets at the time in terms of, just wanted to, because I like going to try to change franchises, I like going in there and putting all the pressure on myself, and I felt like I could really help them, but I just didn't want to be in the New York environment at the time. Everyone was projecting me to go to Minnesota, and at the time, Barney was popular. So I was like, man, I didn't really want to wear no purple in the off season and walking around when nobody asked me where's Baby Bop and everything else. So, so I was like, man, nobody want to go to Minnesota. And when I was so nervous, and that when I went out there, when I had to go get on the scale, I had 5-pound weights in my jacket and so on. So it was like I went to Minnesota and I was like 325 or so on. And when I got on the scale, it was like I was 340. And then the following week, I went to New England to the Patriots, and I was 318. It's
Wow.
like, what's going on with this guy? So
they knew.
Each team probably thought they were making stuff up.
Yeah, I was like, man, I don't really want to. I didn't really want to be there. But it's funny on how I think in my belief with God and how I am. It's funny how you get punished. Like, for example. My father was a single father, for part of my childhood, and first off, he loves Brett Favre. He worshipped Brett Favre, when he was a player. He was just, the guy is remarkable. He's unbelievable and so on. Like, if we played Brett Favre in the Super Bowl, he's like, listen, I want you to have a great game, but Brett needed another ring. I'm like, Pop, I'm your son. Like, what do you mean? So, between that, but then also him being a New Yorker, he forced me when I was a kid to watch, Phil Simms got hurt in Hostetler go out there and win the Super Bowl. Like, I was forced. Like, I remember saying, Grandpa doesn't want me to root for the Giants. I'm a Redskins fan and the Steelers fan. And I like the Broncos, you know, like messing with them, right? So I hated the Giants. So then now here it is, I'm getting drafted, and I hated the Vikings. So, you know, that was the year when Minnesota let the clock run out. So it was like all those picks and stuff in like, a minute? It was like 6 picks in 1 minute. I don't know if you guys remember that 2003 draft. The clock ran out. Minnesota was on the clock, and their time ran out. They didn't turn in their paper, and everyone just jumped ahead of them. Next thing you know, when everything settled, I was on the board, and I guess everyone thought that the next person coming in was going to be, you know, me. Like, Minnesota was going to pick me. And so everyone was picking the next best guy, was what I was told. So then next thing you know, I was getting a phone call, and I was going number 12 to the Rams.
Wow.
And I was ecstatic.
They still had, like, Mike Martz and all those guys there, right?
Yeah.
Dang.
I was ecstatic, you know,
So did you get to go around and, like, how many teams did you visit with, like, before the draft, like, go do, like, a workout for them and all that stuff? Pretty much, like, almost every team?
Yeah, at the time, you know, it was, I don't remember off top how many, but I know I went to at least 3 or 4. Like, I know I went to New England. I know I went to Minnesota. I believe Seattle. You know, the Colts. Yeah, like teams like that.
I'm assuming you went to St. Louis.
Yeah, so I didn't even go to St. Louis.
You didn't?
You know, St. Louis, you know.
That
No,
was
I
a
didn't take a visit out there.
Was it a surprise when they gave you the call?
Yeah, they didn't think they had a chance to get me.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
Dang. So who
And
do you remember
even then, like,
Go ahead.
No, even then, like, you know, like, Jim Haslett, when I first met him, he was with the Saints. And he says, oh, I love you. I love your game. You're going to be amazing at nose guard. You want to play nose guard? I was like, nah, I don't know any nose guard. He's just like, yeah. I was just like, I'm a 3-tech. And he was just like, oh, I'll get you later on when you're ready to be a nose guard.
So,
and they took Jonathan Sullivan that year.
Do you remember who called you, like, before they picked you? Or did anybody call you?
Yeah, I got tons of calls.
Like, did one of the Rams, did Mike Martz call you or somebody like that?
What, when I actually got picked?
Like before you got picked or whatever?
Yeah. Mike called me. Guys in the front office, they called. They passed the phone around. Lovie Smith congratulated me. So on. It was fun. It was a great experience.
Dang,
that's crazy.
I couldn't imagine just being on the phone with those guys. That's so insane.
And your first year at the Rams was really good. You guys, I remember, went to the playoffs and everything the first year.
Yeah. And then Steve Smith caught that pass and killed us.
I hate to say it, but we're big time Panthers fans. I remember watching that, and I'm pretty psyched about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we're diehard Panthers fans out here, so we that's the hometown though, so we're a little bit biased sometimes. But so kind of moving on, you know, went to St. Louis, and then what was it, Jacksonville and Minnesota next, I think.
Yeah, that's a long process, man. The process is, you know, the NFL is the business, so here's how it goes. And I'll break it down as fast as I can. I got drafted to the Rams. The first day in there, I went, my D-line coach told me, he said, hey, I didn't want to draft you. Lovey and Mike Martz wanted to draft you. You know, I like Tyler Brayton. So right up the back, here it was. Before I even put my hand in the dirt, I was trying to get traded. You know, because the guy who's supposed to coach me doesn't even like me.
Yeah.
You know, so he told me we have 5 first-round draft picks in the room, so treat this year like a redshirt year. I said, so I don't have a shot at trying to make Rookie of the Year? But to justify that with the Rams, what happened at the time was they put a label on me like, oh, he's lazy, he's this, and so on. Sort of like what they did with Jared Goff not last year, but the year before. You know, it was like, yeah, you're the first pick, you have this and so on, but he's not ready. But yet the next year he's a Pro Bowler and so on. You know what I'm saying? And Offensive Player of the Year for the most part. You know, so he's just night and day for the most part. You know, once they let him go out there. So that was the case with me. But like I said, I was one of 5 players in the room. I had Grant Winstrom, Leonard Little, Brian Pickett, Damian Lewis, Eric Flowers, so myself. So we was all in there. Leonard Little was getting paid like a first rounder. So long story short, in my 9 years, I believe I had 10 head coaches, 10 defensive coordinators, and so on, So what happened was, when I got there, obviously I'm excited because I got Lovey, and even though I was told I wasn't going to play that year. But I had Lovey, and he had, Warren Sapp and all those guys, so he knew that defense, the Tampa Bay defense. So Lovey left and took the Chicago job after my first year. Mike Moss is my head coach. So now going into my second year, I had to learn a new defense because now I have Larry Marmine as my defense coordinator. And Mike Martz is the head coach, and then next thing year 3, Mike Martz gets sick. We get Joe Vitt as interim coach. So then we get Joe Vitt interim coach, and then year 4, the whole staff gets fired. I get Scott Linehan as head coach, so that's the third head coach, and then I get Jim Haslett as defensive coordinator. And so now, guess what? I now got to change positions and so on because he got his nose guard finally. So 4 years with the Rams, there you go, 3 head coach, Mike Martz, Joe Vitt, Scott Linehan. Defensive coach, you got Lovie Smith, Larry Marmine, Jim Haslett. And then my 2 D-line coaches was Bill Kolar and Brian Baker. So then now, year 4, I'm not producing. Meanwhile, I gotta learn a new defense and new position every year since I've been there. I gotta learn somebody new every year. And everybody that came in saw me a totally different way. We want you 340, or we want you 320. Lovey wanted me 305. Larry Marmine wanted me 340. Jim Haslett wanted me to play nose guard and be 330 pounds. So it was just like a bunch of stuff, adding injuries and so on. But it was just like you can't be successful if every year you get a new boss.
Yeah,
and a new manager.
You're just working towards a new goal that's going to be changed.
Exactly. So then now I get traded to Denver. While I'm out there, while I was out there, word got out that I started a real estate company and I was being successful and so on. So every time they made an offer to me, there was no signing bonus, no guarantees and so on. And everyone knows you don't sign that deal. Now keep in mind, I'm in the 5th year because I got traded. I'm in the 5th year of my rookie contract, the first round contract. So my agent is telling me, just play it out. Play it out. Let's just play it out. Let's see what happens. Let's play it out before we sign anything because they're offering no guarantees and nothing like that, no signing bonus and so on. So I get called for the final cut. What's his name? Mike Shanahan said to me, you get the deal? You're going to take the deal? I said, my agent told me, let's play it out. He says, well, if you can't commit to the Broncos, we can't commit to you. Pleasure, turn your playbook, and so on. Thanks for, trying out. So now I get let go. And I took visits everywhere then, but no one wanted to sign me to a 1-year deal. So Seattle, Cleveland, Buffalo, the Patriots, just team after team. And no one wanted to sign me to a 1-year deal. So then finally, my agent calls me and he says, at the time, I had a 6-month-old baby in the house with my wife. So I was enjoying being home and hanging out, So my agent was like, yeah, I know you're going to these teams, but, you got to play for someone this year. And you got to get at least 3 games in for it to count as a credited season, 3 games on a roster. So I said, all right, cool. I said, but no one's want to sign me to a 1-year deal. So he says, well, here's what it is. He says, there's 5 weeks left in the season. He says, what do you think about Chicago? They keep calling for you. I said, man, I would love that. Lovie Smith, he drafted me into the league and so on. I was just like, yeah, I'll go and play with Chicago, I know the whole defense already. That's why I'm ready to go. So he's like, all right, so we're going to go in. So I went out there. I played the shot. So he said, they don't want to sign you to a one-year deal. They want to keep you around. I said, all right, cool. I love that. I'll be fine with doing that with Lovey. He said, so technically you'll play the 4 games or the 3 games, the 4 games at the end of the season, and then next season you'll be there all year. So I was like, all right, sounds great. So I signed. I go out there. I play, right? We did solid, even though the team was terrible already. So I came in the month of December. You know, we finished the year out. Now in the off season, I don't have to study playbooks or nothing because I know every call that was there. Now, only thing I have to do is train for the technique that I know I'm going to use. Train for the weight that I know I need to be. I know Lovey want me to be 305. There's no unexpected stuff and so on. So now it's all season. I'm training, and you know, camp and everything else and stuff is about to start up. And next thing you know, I get a phone call from Lovey. Hey, Jimmy, how's it going? Whatever. I was like, what's going on, Lovey? You know, how you, man? Or whatever. You know, we talking, and I just like, Lovey, you're gonna be so impressed when I come out there, man. I said, right now I'm 308. I'm tight. I've been in the mountains in Denver training like Rocky. You know, I said, my body fat is under 20%. I'm looking crazy right now. You know, he said, hey, man, that's going to be a good thing on your new team. I said, new team? And he gave me something that I never heard after just wrapping up my 5th year in the NFL. He said, yeah, Jacksonville just called and they put an offer in you we got the first right of refusal. I was like, first right of refusal? Hold on. So he said, yeah, so you'll get more money, but, you know, we have the chance to match it, whatever. And the front office don't want me to match it. So I was like, come on, Lovey, I signed this 2-year deal with you. It's showing you telling me I don't have no choice on where I go now? So he's just like, yeah, so most likely we don't know because we have so many defensive tackles. He said, and right now they called us and they just got rid of Marcus Stroud. So he's breaking everything down. I was just like, come on, Lovey, I don't want to go to no Jacksonville. So next thing you know, he's like, I have no choice and so on. So I had to go to Jacksonville. I don't know if you guys know it. We get down to Jacksonville. I make the team. Everything is cool. So now, obviously, I got 2 more head coaches and so on. I think I had, Jim Bates and
Jack Del Rio.
Denver. Yeah, no, at the time I'm talking about for Denver.
Oh.
I had Mike Shanahan, another head coach at it, and Jim Bates with Bill Johnson and Jacob Burney as D-line coaches. And then now I go to Chicago, and I had, you know, obviously Lovey, and I just go from there, right? Then I get to Jacksonville, and I got Del Rio and Greg Williams, you know, so that's more coaches and so on.
The head coach counts up to about 6 already, or 5, I think.
Yeah. So then now keep in mind, I'm in years, 6 for the most part, though?
Yeah.
So then now I go out there, and then, you know, there's a bunch of stuff going on in Jacksonville, gang banging and all that stuff, which is everywhere. But one of our teammates, I don't know if you guys know, Richard Collier, ended up getting shot and paralyzed and stuff that season and amputated his leg and everything else. You know, so that kind of put a damper in me and so on. So I'll play, won't play. Jack will look at it. If you walk into the locker room, you're in let's say, you know, Big John Henderson was in there getting slapped. I'm sure everybody saw it. He's in there getting slapped, have the trainer slap him and so on. If you walk into the locker room and you're sitting in the locker room, I was sitting in the locker room fully with all my equipment on, except my helmet, taped up, ready to go. Jack walked in. One of my players told me a joke. We're in the locker room now, right? I started smiling and laughing, right? Mm-hmm. But not like ha 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 ha, like whatever. But Jack looked at me, saw me smiling. He didn't hear me laugh. He saw me smiling, walked over to me and said, "You're inactive today."
God.
Like right before the game?
Yeah, right before the game. I went out, warmed up, everything else. He said, "You're inactive today." And I was like, I'm inactive? You know, come to find out, you know, he's like, guys are smiling before the game. We got to be ready for war. You got to be ready. I'm like, ready for war? I said, you should be able to smile if you're prepared, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you're smiling because you just bullshitting. Like if you're prepared and ready to go, you could smile.
Yeah,
You know, if you know you got a great game plan and you ready to, you know. So long story short, we go out there and they was playing the Vikings, and Minnesota destroyed them. So I was kind of happy that I was inaccurate, but sad because, you know, obviously I was like, yeah, see, you should have had me out there, you know.
exactly.
They had Adrian Peterson his rookie year, probably running all over him.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he was killing them. It was what? I was like, so it is what it is.
I just picture you sitting back there with your arms crossed, like, yep, I could have been in there.
Yeah, so I was like, you know, I was excited, but I'm, you know, happy and sad too. But then after, like, the Vikings players and coaches is asking me, like, oh, we were some chance for you. Like, you in a doghouse, whatever. I was like, nah, I got in trouble for smiling. It's like, what? And it's like, oh, man. So
Is that when they told you right then they're going to try and sign you this
Yeah, they're
offseason?
like, you can smile all you want in Minnesota if we get you.
yeah, so they look at me like, hey, so whatever. So long story short, me and Jack, we had a little bit of words and so on for another incident, and I ended up getting let go. But Greg Williams told Jack he didn't want me to get let go. So now they had a heated battle. So Greg told him, like, nah, I'm not coming back here. No, Greg Williams. He's like, I'm not coming back to the. Like, you letting them go, one of my crew players and everything else. I'm not coming back.
Wow.
So I thought Greg was bullshitting. Come to find out, he left at the end of the year with the New Orleans.
Wasn't kidding.
You know, so yes, so I was like, whoa, like, you know. So long story short, I get let go. So then now I'm down there in Jacksonville, taking care of the family, hanging out and so on, enjoying the Florida sun. And I get a call from my agent saying, hey, pack your stuff, you're going to Minnesota. I was like, nah, I'm not going to Minnesota. Then he was just like, yeah. I was like, I'm a free agent now. I can pick wherever I want to go. He's just like, listen, Kevin, you know, me and Kev, we had the same agent. He's like, Kevin and Pat, they got this, you know, the drug stuff and Stargate and all that other stuff, whatever it is. So Star Caps and all that. So it was just like, oh, man. So, you know, I was cool with Kev and all. I was, man. And I was just like, I'll call you back. And I hang up and I just instantly start crying. Like, man, I don't want to be a Viking. I can't do this. I don't want to be in Minnesota. Like, I was hurt. You know, my wife was like, yo, you got it. Yeah, well, my ex-wife, she was like, hey, you'll go, you have fun, you never know, whatever. Like, it's still a great opportunity. And I was just like, I got no choice. But meanwhile, I was like, you got to go to our house in St. Louis and get my winter clothes because I don't got nothing but,
Yeah, you about to be freezing.
hot Florida clothes. So I get off the plane in Minnesota, and they said negative 27 wind chill.
Jesus Christ.
That's like a complete climate change.
I got a light jacket on, light leather coat and so on, and some sneakers, no boots, nothing. So I go get the rental car and everything else. I get to the to my hotel, you know, and I wake up the next day, and you know, it's snow and stuff like that. And I jump in the car, go to start it, and the car won't start. Now, keep in mind, I don't know anyone out there. I don't know the head coach's number. I didn't get my stuff. You know, I just know the address where I need. So everyone's looking at me. So I'm like, oh, please, somebody help me. Like, you know, so I called one of the scouts, and he came over and helped me. He was like, hey, you didn't plug your car in? I was like, plug my car in? What you mean? He showed me like a retractable cord, and I guess because it gets so cold, it drains the battery. They had plugs on the wall.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, I've never heard of that either.
Yeah, so I had to plug the car in so the battery don't die.
They didn't tell you that at the rental place?
They didn't tell me that.
I guess they just assume everybody knows that or something.
What's wrong with them?
Yeah, they just assume, I guess. Yeah, so I was like, man, so long story short, obviously that happened. But I ended up making it there on time for, you know, work and everything else. And then when I was there, man, it was like, it was like a college atmosphere. We had so much fun. The environment was amazing. Like, it was the first time I felt like a pro. I mean, Brad Childress did an amazing job of making everyone feel like one.
Yeah.
Kevin, Pat Williams embraced me like I was family, you know, when they believed in me. Carl Dunbar had to be probably the best defensive line coach in my pro career. Like, he's just an amazing coach, and it was just great. You know, when I came in there, he was just like, girl, you know what? I don't care what happened before you got here. You here now. I just want the best from you. I just want to see you play ball and get you out there doing your thing. So I was like, all right, yeah, cool. So I go out, and obviously it was, towards the end of the year again because Jacksonville let me go on Thanksgiving. So now I did the same thing with them, like I did with Chicago the year before. So now I played the last 5 games, and I had a solid, 5 games. Then now it's the off season, so I'm like, I'm not buying no house and none of that other stuff. And Minnesota called me back, and they wanted me to sign a 1-year deal. So I was like, all right, cool, I'll sign a 1-year deal. So I signed a 1-year deal, and now I finally went into the off season knowing the whole defense, knowing what my weight needed to be, knowing what I needed to train, what I need to work on, and so on. When I came back, I had a dominant year.
Yeah,
so
it's probably refreshing to have some structure for the first time, so far.
So here it is, year what? What, year 7?
7, yeah, 7.
Year 7, I'm like, year 6. I'm finally coming out and having a dominant year. So then year 7, it's it was year 7. Because then year 7, I had a dominant year. So then now I'm a free agent, and they all convincing me to come back. So I'm like, all right, and Pat Williams want me to take over for him. Meanwhile, I switch positions. I know nose guard, D tackle, all the D line, so I'm learning everything now. So I said, all right, I'm coming back. So I came back on a 2-year deal. When I got back, Randy Moss and Brad Childress had their little hiccup, and Brad Childress ended up getting fired. So now my coach that I enjoyed playing for is gone. Now, meanwhile, me and Leslie Frazier never saw eye to eye. There's a backstory to this that I won't share now, but we never saw eye to eye, right? And next thing you know, now he's the head coach. And as soon as he became head coach, I knew I was done. And that's what happened. And as soon as the off season came, he called me up and let me go.
Wow.
And then I ended up, so now I'm saying, oh, man, come on. Next thing you know, I had some multiple offers from the Giants offered me, the Cleveland Browns, what is this, Buffalo, so I was just like, you know what? I was ready to go to Cleveland, Buffalo, something like that. And my agent was like, man, you don't want to be dealing with the double teams and all that other stuff. You don't want to just be the guy you had your success because you had some talent around you. You want to go be around talent. And, I went out to the Giants and played with them and had a couple of injuries and stuff like that and won the Super Bowl. And that was a blessing because I didn't want to go to the Giants. So look how this goes. I didn't want to go to the Giants because I hated them as a kid because of my dad. And I never wanted to be drafted by the Vikings. Meanwhile, now, in the end, I get to look back and say my best team that I've ever played for was the Vikings. And every time I want to talk about, winning the Super Bowl, I have to talk about the team that I hated as a kid.
Wow.
That's good. That'd be like if we had to play for the Falcons or something like that. That's great.
Yeah, ain't that something?
So,
and then
go ahead.
So then what happened was I won the Super Bowl, and I was like, all right, I'm ready to go back. So I was ready to go back to the Giants and see what I can, make happen and get ready for another year and so on. But I was a free agent, and I was sitting there over there. I was training, and my heart kept going. My heart rate monitor on the machine kept saying 190, 160, 190, 180, 202, so on. I was like, what's going on? I was sweating like crazy. Wasn't catching my breath and so on. I was like, what's happening? And something wasn't feeling right. I was getting tired. I could do elliptical for 45 minutes, an hour, but I was getting exhausted going up the steps. I'm sweating bullets and night flashes. I'll wake up and my whole bed will be wet. I was like, what is going on? This is way too much piss. This has got to be by my neck. It's wet by my neck and ankles. I was just like, this kid, I ain't have an accident since I was a kid. I was like, what's going on? Why is the bed wet? Flipping pillows and so on. And then something didn't feel right. So I ended up going to the doctor. And when I went to the doctor, he checked my heart and he said I was in AFib in that I played so long and I was an extreme athlete that from up and downs and adrenaline and, toward all shots and different stuff and so on, and my body created its own rhythm, so he was just like, yeah, NFL career is done.
Gosh.
I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? He's just like, yeah, you gotta take it easy and all this other stuff. Some people can manage AFib, but, he's like, you got irregular beats, and it actually made your heart weaker as well as your valves. So your blood isn't pumping and circulating the right way. So I felt like I could still do it. And I was just like, all right, let me, take my time, get myself in better shape. So I started, training, working out, doing certain stuff and so on. So I took my son to Disneyland, because obviously I'm not playing that season. So he told me this in, June or something like that, that, hey, yeah, you're not playing in July. You're not going to nobody's camp. You're not doing none of this stuff. So I'm just like, all right, I'm a free agent. Nobody's trying to sign me. I'm just like, all right, I got this condition. So he say, let me keep in shape. So I'll keep in shape and so on, because maybe next year everything will be back and I can still go. And I just took a year off. So I'll take my son to Disneyland and stuff. We out there hanging out, and leave, and I'm on the rides, and my heart is racing. Like I feel like I'm gonna die on like a Star Wars ride. Like it wasn't even like I was on like a roller coaster. I was on like a 3D Star Wars ride and everything else, and I was sweating bullets. Like you would think I was in the scariest dream, the scariest movie of my life. Like I was like everything. A pin drop was startling me. And I leave, and we head back home. And I was like, all right, come on, relax. So I had scallops and fish and stuff. And I was trying some new fish for the first time. And I walked into the house, put my son to bed, relaxed. And I was sitting on the edge of the bed, and it was like someone took a hot glove, like a hot lead glove, and grabbed the left side of my face and was just dragging it down the side of my body.
Mm.
So it felt like my face was melting. Then it went to my left shoulder and so on. So I grabbed my phone. I'm Googling left shoulder pain, left side pain, and so on. And I'm like, what's happening? So I'm looking like food allergies and so on. And then I saw a stroke, heart attack, and so on. So I get up, and by the time I stand up, it's going down to my knees and ankles and so on. And I go to the bathroom down the hall, and I grab 3 aspirins. I opened the aspirins up, and I swallowed them. It was like trying to swallow like 3 stones, 3 rocks.
Oh, God.
And as soon as it hit my system, I could feel it subsiding. And it was like, here it is. I'm 30 years old and having a stroke.
God, oh my, well, man,
and
that's...
Then, yeah.
Jesus.
So then now, I because I didn't listen to the doctor, I had my first stroke. And then I went to, I called my lady and so on. She came out. I didn't tell her what was going on until she got close. But when she came out, we ended up going to the doctors, and I was in severe AFib. My heart weakened down to 20%. I thought it was just me keeping in shape because I was working out more. So here it was. I was 298, the lowest I've been, 298 and not 330 or nothing like that. In great shape, like probably like 12% body fat and so on, and the worst my heart has ever been. So then now they went in to reset it, and when they went in, I had 16 blood clots.
Jesus, God almighty.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So they said just a small piece broke off, but if I would have kept working out, I would have pushed the blood clots through and basically been dead right now.
My, well,
so
thank God that didn't happen.
Put me on. Yeah, so they put me on blood thinners for about, I want to say 10 weeks, and then finally fixed my heart. Well, long story short, I've been retired 6 years and had 5 heart surgeries now, 5 resets where they go in and reset my heart, and also I had 3 different episodes with the left side numbness and loss of like stroke-like symptoms.
Gee, well,
I didn't even see any of that online when I was researching you. That's crazy.
No, it's cool. I don't be putting that. I actually just recently started talking about it because as athletes we stop, we shut down. We want to. I've just now accepted You know, I mean, keep in mind, guys, I'm only 38 years old. You know, so it's like one of those things when we play this game, it conditioned us to make us feel like we're so old. But in reality, I'm only 38. So it's like, you know, when you start looking at that at 38, having strokes and different stuff and body pain and the different stuff that we go through, it's not just about, you know, CTE and stuff that you can't, you know, discover, but, you know, it's just a battle. Like, you know, like through all the stuff that the years that I played, you know, you got to keep in mind that for the 9 years that I played, the 9 or 10 different head coaches, I had to go balls to the wall every time because I was never in a position to, even as a first rounder, I had a level of expectation because I was a first round talent. But I had to please everyone who didn't draft me. My standards were so high because it was just like, well, he made that look easy. He's a first rounder. So because I was a first rounder, if I did something versus you guys doing something, even though I'm working hard and practicing and doing things a certain way, because you were in the third round or fourth round, that wasn't expected of you. But because I was a first rounder, it's like, oh, he's supposed to do that. He's a first rounder.
Yeah, we have we see that a lot with players nowadays. Like and like we kind of said earlier, we're Panthers fans, and we kind of see that comparison with like Cam Newton and like Russell Wilson. Like they both play a similar style, but like they could have like identical games, but Cam Newton was a first overall pick. He's supposed to do that. Russell Wilson was what, a fourth,
third, yeah,
exactly.
Third. And it like I think that's a good modern day comparison of what people like. They could have identical games, and Russell Wilson will make every single, you know, first take and undisputed and all that stuff, and they won't even mention a Cam Newton game, even though they had identical games, because he's supposed to do it.
But you know how it goes. The NFL has their poster boys and so on. They gotta have for every good guy, you gotta have a villain. You know?
Oh yeah, they definitely got
that's the truest thing anybody said on this podcast yet.
they definitely got the poster boys, but well, man, it's I imagine that news is just. It's one of those things where you get the news and, like you said, it's probably so hard to accept. But now that you're, 38 and looking back on it, you're like, man, I'm glad I got it when I got it because that could have been terrible. I mean,
yeah, but then you also look, like I said, I know I'm talking about a condition that most may not have, but when you stop and you look at it, like I have a degenerate disc in my lower back from playing, lifting and running, hitting, and so on. I have a plate and 5 screws in my left thumb. I have 2 pins in my right hand with the shortness of my third middle finger. I have a screw, like a wall screw. It looked like a cartoon picture when you look at it on the X-ray. I got a wall screw on my right foot, on a 5th metatarsal, knee surgeries and so on. Just when I finished, one summer, I ended up hurting my knee, and Leslie Frazier convinced me to, which I never listened to him because I didn't know at the time he didn't like me, but he convinced me to have my knee scoped and drained, and once I did that, it was like, oh, it only takes, 4 weeks to heal, and it took like 10 weeks, but then I play nose guard, so I'm getting double teamed and everything else, so it never fully healed.
Yeah, it never
heals.
So
then in the off season, in year 8, in the off season, my chiropractor, trainer guy, and my sports guy, he did my knee. He said, "Listen, I don't want you to tell nobody, but you got severe severe nerve damage in your knee." He said, "We got to spend all off season building your quad up around your knee to protect it." He said, "Right now your knee is terrible." He said, "I don't know how you made it through the season."
And that's amazing how many players probably play like
crazy.
that. That's so many people probably play like that nowadays, just with these unspoken injuries that nobody even knows about. It's probably just the amount of people that do it is unbelievable, I bet.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And what happens is it becomes that mentality. So that's what was happening with the, when they talk about concussions and different stuff. Like when I played it, we always said the best ability is availability.
Yeah.
You know, I done hit people and saw stars and numerous times.
It's just getting your bell
Yeah,
rung.
Yeah, I was about to say that's when it was just getting your bell rang.
You just got your bell rung. You'll be all right
it's like,
in a
you
minute.
know, that for me, when I played, that was a part of the game.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like, I remember in high school when that happened, you know, you go to the sideline gate. Oh, man. I just had a picture flash, boy. I took his head off, boy. I took his head off.
Yeah, go over there, sit down.
I know somebody was in the stand. Somebody took a picture of that because I saw the flash.
Go over there, sit down, get you some water, get a
Seeing
rag.
stars or whatever you want to call it back in the day. That's all
I
it
remember
was.
it. I
Then it was like,
ball.
you know, I'll sit down a play or two or something like that on the sideline, or we stop them, and next thing you know, I'm back on the field.
Yeah, it's
You know,
I mean,
and now it's like
it's
I'm
crazy.
done, and it's like, oh yeah, that was you guys seeing stars, and those was concussions.
yeah, that was permanent brain damage that'll never heal ever again. By the way.
I was like, I saw that way too many times.
Dang,
know?
man, that's insane. Well,
Oh, we got one more. This is kind of like the like our tradition. We always ask all defensive guys, hardest guy to tackle.
Oh man, I don't know, man. I played when the running back. I mean, don't get me wrong, we got some good running backs.
Yeah, there was
now,
some good ones back in the day. Like
we had some good ones then. I mean, obviously, I ain't too far away, but you gotta keep in mind that I played against Emmitt Smith. I practiced against Marshall
yeah.
Faulk. You
I
know,
meant to ask you about Marshall
Emmett.
Faulk.
Yeah, I practiced against Marshall. You know, I can just go down a list of running backs. You know,
You mentioned Fred
even,
Taylor
you know,
earlier too.
Fred Taylor, Edgerrin James, like, you know, Frank Gore was good in his day. He's still good now. You know, so it's just like, man.
that dude never stops.
Man's 34 and he's still good.
Yeah, but I mean, and even though with you guys, like Carolina boys, you know, like Williams, D'Angelo Williams, when he was out there, like, oh my God, like
Stephen Davis, all of them.
yeah, Stephen Davis, D'Angelo Williams, you know, Stewart, those guys were shifty and so on too.
Did you ever play against Cam?
Against Cam, yeah.
Did you get it?
He's all right.
He's all right.
He's all right.
Another one they say hard to
He's
tackle
all
is Steve McNair. I was wondering about that too.
You know, I was young when I was out there.
Okay.
You know, so I don't remember playing against him. But
Some pretty big names right there. That's crazy.
yeah, I mean, you gotta keep in mind, like, you got between quarterbacks, between running backs, and so on. I played against some talent. I played against some talented offensive linemen, Leonard Davis, Larry Allen. You know, these big boys. You know, so they played. You know, so yeah, I enjoyed my NFL career, although it didn't go the way I wanted to. I mean, I'm blessed to walk away with, you know, like, it was weird because, like I said, it was like God gave me the hardware, and then I got the news, and then it was like, all right, now you do it. You know, so,
the hardware is the ring. I take it.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Super Bowl ring.
Wait,
I mean,
do you
think
wear
about
that?
this, man.
I would be wearing that on a regular basis.
You know, like, my lady be like, yeah, put your ring on. Put your ring on. But I feel, like, weird, you know? Like, but she always, you know how it goes. We have a house in Arizona and L.A., so in L.A. you get a lot of perks, especially, you know, as a Rams first rounder, you know, now that they're out there. So now, you know, we have a house there, so it's like, oh, yeah, this is the first one. Guess who's dressed? Oh, he also won a Super Bowl. So we trying to get into a restaurant or something or whatever, and no reservations. And they see that ring, it's like, oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah,
all of a sudden we have a table just opened over here.
yeah,
you want to come sit down?
We can put you by the window. It might be, hey, listen, as long as I'm in the building. You know what I'm saying?
That's
I need some
crazy.
extra shrimp, too. Let me get some extra shrimp. You know what I'm saying?
So I was just,
Okay.
I just kind of like put this together as we were sitting here, like, you're going through your years, and I didn't even think about it. But you said your dad was a big Brett Favre fan, didn't you? Your years lined up. You played with him on the Vikings,
Yeah,
right?
09.
Yeah, Brett is my guy. You know, I got a signed, I got a signed Brett Favre jersey and a signed pair of Wranglers, my size.
Oh man,
Oh, that's a Wrangler. That's nice.
that's
You know
so
what I'm
cool.
saying? They got a signed pair of Wranglers. He
That's
signed
cooler
the
than a
whole
jersey.
pant leg.
That's way cooler than a
And this
jersey.
what I'll tell you. I got a Brett Favre signature on a pair of Wranglers that has to be at least a yard long. Like, he signed it that big. Like, I mean, I might be exact. All right, so listen. His first name Brett is at least a foot, and Favre is like a foot and a half.
Wow, That's
and then
crazy.
the four after it obviously is, obviously let's just say is a big four. So if I had to go top to bottom on the four that he put, it's probably like 7-8 inches.
So do you just?
That might be better than the Super Bowl ring.
Is it
It
just
might
signed?
just be.
Is it just signed up?
Man.
Is it just signed like up the leg or something? I assume.
Yeah, he signed it down the pants leg, like the front of the
That's
leg.
crazy.
So he folded, and oh my God. Listen, I'm not home right now, but one day just send me a message. I'll send you a picture.
Yeah.
Of it.
Oh
It's
man.
sweet.
We might
And it says,
go in. We
and
might
it
go
says-
in. That's crazy.
It says, "Congratulations on an amazing season from your friends at Wrangler and Brett Favre."
That's
like,
too
yeah, I
cool.
appreciate
Crazy.
that.
I collect a lot of cards. I have a lot of like jersey cards and all that, but I think that tops anything we got. I'm gonna see if I have one of your cards. I'll look tonight.
Dang, man, that is
Yeah, that
so.
sounds cool. Let me know, because I got some too.
Dang.
My kids be keeping them and stuff.
Well, man, I kind of winding down here. We wanted to just, thank you again for talking with us and all that stuff. And
The funnest
sharing-
interview we've done yet on
sharing-
show history.
sharing your
Anytime,
story
man,
and
anytime.
thanks for sharing your story and getting. It's good to get the news out there and stuff like that for guys in case there could be somebody going through the same thing. So hopefully somebody can hear this and get something out of it. So man, we appreciate you talking with us today. Enjoy. You said you're in New York, so enjoy that nice cool weather.
Yep.
Now got that humidity from the Charlotte weather we got. So enjoy that weather and
Yeah.
man.
Can't wait to do this again. This is
It's my escape from Arizona right now.
we
dry heat out
we
there.
definitely want to catch back up. Maybe like review us after the season or something like that. Maybe sit down and talk about the season on another podcast and just kind of shoot the breeze or whatever another day. So
That's cool, man. Whatever you guys need, man. When the season rolls around this time, just shoot me a message and we'll schedule some more time to get
All
on
right.
the phone and laugh and joke.
all right,
We'll do
man.
that.
Well, thanks for talking with us, buddy.
No problem, man.